Hi, my name is Ian Nguyen from Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. Check out Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Rabble.
Welcome back to Ranger Rabble, the podcast that peels out in full throttle, tearing through the morphing grid, no breaks, no filters.
Today we're talking Power Rangers RPM. Get in gear! The season where the world ends, the bad guys take over, and the fate of the world is in the hands of a very different team. And speaking of different Rangers, let's talk about Dylan. Half human, half machine, and fully allergic to teamwork.
Dude, don't even get me started on Dylan. He carried the emotional weight of the show. If anything, I'm calling out Scott, who had the leadership skills of a busted gearbox. We're diving into who really kept RPM running. Was it the hot-headed leader, the lone wolf, or the team's quiet MVPs?
From power struggles to personality clashes, we're breaking down the most flawed but fascinating Ranger team in history. Hey, Zordon, there's a virus in your tube. Where's your mask?
Alpha, Rita's escaped. Recruit me a podcast with attitude. Ranger Rabble, we need you. Leo V, Kyle D, may the power protect you. It's morphin' time.
Go, go. Ranger Rabble. Go, go. Ranger Rabble. Rabble. Ranger Rabble.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Ranger Rabble. As always, I'm Leo V.
And I'm Kyle D, and today we're talking about Power Rangers RPM.
We start every episode out with the voiceover from Dr. K letting us know about the Venjix virus and how it has essentially taken over the world. The domed city of Corinth is the only place where people can survive, and that's where we have Power Rangers RPM.
Getting deep!
This theme song was all right. Not very lyric heavy, which was great. I don't know that they had to scream "Getting Gear" the whole time, but like, not the worst theme song.
It was cool.
Yeah.
I fuck with it.
I fucks with it. This was such a strange activation code for them to have to say all the time. I mean, only because only the Black and Green Rangers had actual like gears on their morphers to get into, and the other ones were kind of just like cell phones.
I was gonna ask why did they have two different morphers? And
3 technically, because then Gold and Silver had their own kind of like airplane joysticks as morphers. So it kind of, I guess, went with vehicles, but for them to not give the red, blue, and yellow their own kind of car morphers, theirs were kind of cell phones.
There's a simple explanation for that.
What were you thinking there, Dr. K?
the whole season is just weird.
It's weird, but at the same time, as a full season, it works. The combination of the Sentai that they had and what they did with the American season do not really match at all. So the Sentai, which was Go-Onger, they were. The Zords came from a like machine land where the bad guys had fell through some sort of portal and ended up in Japan, and the Zords found Rangers that would like team up with them, and they would like fight against a kind of like machine pollution-esque kind of monster. This one, we got a computer virus that took over the entire world, and the Power Rangers had to, protect the one piece of land, not under virus control. So it was really cool to see a full story that gave you like stakes and consequences right from the beginning, where it was like, okay, holy shit, we already know the world is gone. There is only one place that survives.
The only one.
And that is all we have left to protect at this point. So that aspect was really cool. and then you kind of had like the goofy looking Zords and the suits that didn't necessarily fit with any of that. So like there was some really cool, balanced, awesome aspects with some, yeah, all right, fine.
Yeah, the Zords were definitely not cool, in my opinion. I did like the Black Rangers, like rapid fire car. That was pretty dope. Um, but the suits were a choice. The seatbelts.
I think the suits were cooler than the Zords. The suit at least had the potential to, if they didn't have such like goofy anime looking Zords, I feel like it could have made it a little bit cooler. But I don't know that they fit. And for Dr. K to say like they're not eyes.
The front of our Zords.
They are not eyes. They're optical field scanning sensors for your cockpit's A2D display.
Yeah, it's a set of eyes, dum dum. Like, don't lie to me and say it in science like it's not a thing. So this was the last of the Disney seasons. This was also supposed to be the very end of Power Rangers. There was not a plan to move forward with it after this. Disney had kind of dropped the ball with Power Rangers. They didn't put a whole lot of love into the franchise. They kind of just kept it going because cool, it makes money. And when they weren't really doing a lot with it, they, I guess, became surprised when the ratings were so low. And after this season, Saban would swoop back in and buy the property back and team up with Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon Power Rangers just.
You know, I can't fully blame Nickelodeon for it because Saban was back in control. But before we get into that, like our Rangers, check yourself and your vehicle into the garage and make sure you smash that like and subscribe button. It takes 2 seconds for you guys, but it means the world for us here at the channel.
And as always, guys, in every episode of Ranger Rabble, at the end, Leo and I give out the Golden Morpher. This is our way of telling you what we think is the best part of this season. But enough of the promoting. Let's get in gear and dive into this season.
Evil endeavors.
But yes, we have Venjix, who is the main big bad of the season. And he's a computer virus that can shoot laser beams out of his red eye whenever one of his foot soldiers or his generals disappoint him in any way, shape, or form. He sounds like Zordon when he talks.
I'm Venjix. Your world is now my world.
A little bit, yeah.
He's got that Rangers kind of thing to his voice, like that, a little bit of that like Zordon dialect. So on top of Venjix, we have Tanaya 7. Whew. My God. So at first I thought she was a bitch.
Of course.
And then the shield came up and I was like, oh, you bad. She is a human-looking combat android and a skilled assassin, and one of Venjix's, I guess, top generals, essentially, in his armada of monsters.
She definitely works her way up throughout the
Yes.
season.
And it's later on revealed in the season that she is actually the sister of Dylan.
So many Robo Rangers between Overdrive, this one. Like, why do I need to have so many Rangers that are part robot?
There's a simple explanation for that.
Oh, there isn't. Stop it. I refuse to believe that.
We also get Kilobyte. Clever.
That's a computer word.
It is. He is an elite and arrogant general, and the strongest that Venjix. I'm going to end up calling him Vengeance.
I am Vengeance. I am the Knight. I am Batman.
I'll let myself out. Thank you.
We also get Shifter, who is the Finster of the season. He's the engineer of the season, and we
Right.
get Crunch.
If Crunch, if I remember correctly, was the one that kind of had that like red and white tube kind of off his back. In the Sentai, he was like a pollution robot, so that they kind of made him look like a an industrial plant that would spout out pollution.
So Crunch reminds me of Frax when he has the crazy face in Time Force.
Oh, not the crazy face.
Yeah, he reminds me of the face that Frax would do. And in this season, the foot soldiers we get are the grinders, which are just their run of the mill foot soldiers. They're interesting looking creatures.
They're like white and bronze robots, nothing crazy.
Nothing to write home about.
At one point, Gem and Gemma, the 6th and 7th Ranger, they what's the word I'm looking for? They reprogram a grinder so that it'll go back to Venjix's base, and like they use the camera in there to find out where Venjix's base is. So the grinders don't actually do much this season, but eventually play a bigger part, grand scheme in taking out Venjix.
Gotcha. The villains this season were pretty cool. I liked the idea that Venjix was not a physical thing, but just a computer virus.
I mean, he eventually became a physical thing, but that was only to, keep up and deal with the fact that his generals were shitting the bed in what he wanted them to do.
Yeah. And I don't like how Tanaya 15 was just Tanaya with circuit board markings.
They very heavily took from the Andros Astronema brother sister storyline. The I'm brainwashed, so like the one thing on the side of my face is partially destroyed.
I was literally verbatim going to go, oh, okay, Astronema.
Yeah. They
destroy them.
They got Corone. My sister. Yeah. Which essentially was Dylan as soon as he found out he had a sister and his little yeah. But all in all, the some of the drama between Kilobyte and Tanaya kind of kept the villains interesting, because that at least kept them fighting amongst themselves.
Mhm.
Not that they weren't a strong force. They had obviously taken over the entire world, but for the most part, once it came to getting that last bit of land, they were not as successful as they would have expected to be. So to fight the bad guys, obviously we have our Rangers. Getting into them a little bit, each one of them kind of had an interesting backstory, and each episode we had individual episodes that dove into their backstories a little bit and kind of got us more bonded with these Rangers as opposed to what we got when it started. So Scott was the Red Ranger, and he basically lived in the shadow of his older brother. They were both in some sort of army, and in one of the Venjix attacks, Scott's brother ends up being KIA. So he has to go home and kind of deal with his father losing his favorite child, and now trying to earn his father's respect. The Yellow Ranger was a spoiled rich girl who all of a sudden the world is under attack and a bus shows up to save everybody, and all of a sudden the bus just happens to be at capacity.
You're at capacity, sir!
For one person. Like, you couldn't just have this one person like stand in the back somewhere and like save their life. But so she's like throwing money around the desert, like, please someone help me, I have money. And she gets eventually saved and becomes less of a spoiled asshole, which is always nice to see. The Blue Ranger, was there anything particular about him?
I'm Scottish!
So he had a bit of a hero complex. He just always wanted to help people. And the things he did in his life did not end up helping him as he was trying to help people. So he was able to finally find an outlet for his heroism and get the respect of his father in the process. Good old Dylan. He is the bad boy, the brooding man of the season that gets the love interest of the Yellow Ranger. So she kind of has a bit of a crush on him through most of the season. He, we find out, is part Venjix. So he was taken to a prison and given part of the Venjix virus. So him and his sister were there together, and at the same prison, we find out Jem and Gemma, our 6th and 7th Rangers, also spent some time there before they escaped. So luckily they weren't implanted with any viruses or anything, but Dylan, towards the end of the season, his virus starts to take over, and it becomes a big battle for humanity on whether he's going to make it or not. Then we have my favorite of all the Rangers, Ziggy. He is the wild comedic relief. His speciality is shadow puppets. So that's what he brings to the table. If I was going to be a Ranger, I would be Ziggy. There's no doubt that he should not necessarily have been a Ranger, but as the season progresses, he definitely steps up and wears the mantle of a Power Ranger well.
I was going to say, yeah, watching the season back, you are 1000% Ziggy. Like, there's no questioning it. There's no doubting it.
Then we have our 6th and 7th Rangers who actually knew Dr. K back in the Alphabet Soup days. So they took the Gold and Silver Ranger powers before Venjix took over, and we're kind of holding on to those ever since. They were very ADHD with their actions. Everything was like, okay, we're just going to blow everything up. We're just going to blow everything up. And after a while, somebody had to be like, hey, look, that's a great plan and all, but sometimes we need strategy. We can't always just blow things up.
Their suits are pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. So their suits were more like sky and helicopter based. Then you had the other Rangers who were more like land vehicle based.
Yeah, the gold visor is sick.
Yeah, gold and silver definitely as suits work together.
More phenomenal mentor.
So running this team of Power Rangers, we have Dr. K. Dr. K was kidnapped as a child. She was super smart and just doing equations, and was kidnapped by a government organization called Alphabet Soup. So they gave her a letter instead of a name, and she eventually forgot what her actual name was. She always wanted to go outside and kept asking to go outside, and the government kept telling her she was allergic to sunlight, so she wasn't allowed outside. So that's why she ended up creating the computer virus so that they could escape. But unfortunately, it got past the firewalls of Alphabet Soup and got out into the rest of the world. She is very harsh at first with the Rangers because she grew up not really having a human childhood. So she refers to all the Rangers as Ranger Series Operator and then their color, until eventually Jem and Gemma are kind of like, hey, they have names. You can call them by their names, like they're on your team, they're your friends. You've been spending a lot of time with them. Like, come on now.
Does her real name ever get revealed?
Nope. But she eventually does develop a bit of a crush on Ziggy, and the two of them, their actors in real life, were married for a little while.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. Since we got our Rangers and Dr. K, tell me about the garage.
Home sweet headquarters.
The garage is it's your typical garage. It's there's a bunch of cars in it. The season opens with the Black and Red Ranger basically having a, what's the word I'm looking for? Dick swinging contest with their cars.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can put it. There's this is, hey, look how big mine is. Listen to how loud mine is. We have Blue Ranger working on his vehicle as well, and just doing he's the henchman arbitrarily turning knobs, making it seem like he's doing something.
But he's actually smart, though. He creates something with Gemma later in the season that they end up using as like a weapon.
Yep.
So he definitely has some smarts.
The Yellow Ranger also has her personal motorcycle in the shop, which she works on too. But going past that, they open up the door, and when you go inside to the actual command center, Dr. K is just at that point a literal sound meter with the letter K.
Yep. Did not want to introduce themselves to the world, was very used to an isolated lifestyle. So to put themselves in a domed city where there's a lot of people all of a sudden, slight social anxiety.
But the command center, it's your typical computer lab, really. A lot of virus-like things going around, like computer virus technology and stuff like that. A lot of high-tech things in there. I did notice that all of their vehicles are right-side drive. So that's a little nod to New Zealand, Australia, where they're filming.
Was it the actual cars or like the Zords themselves you're talking about?
The actual cars, like the red car, the blue Hummer. So I was trying to see, because this is just who I am as a person. The blue truck is a Humvee, like a military style Hummer H1 Alpha, and I want to say the red car is a Nissan Skyline with a body kit on it. I could be wrong.
Power Rangers of the air, we stand together. Power Rangers of the air, getting gear.
Yeah, the garage is not really anything to write home about. They've kind of got a little base, I'm sure, that works closely with the army on or in Corinth. So the colonel can kind of show up whenever he needs to and talk to the Power Rangers, because they don't really have secret identities in this season. Everybody kind of just knows who they are.
Yeah, that threw me for a loop when I caught that. I was like, oh my god, these kids are talking to the Power Rangers, and they're like, Ranger Blue, like, bro, what happened to secret identities?
I mean, like I said, why would you need a secret identity if there's only maybe 1,000 people in there and you're the ones responsible for saving them? So to fight against the bad guys, we have some weapons.
Awesome armory.
The Rangers, there's 3 different kinds of morphers that they use. So red, blue, and yellow use the cell shift morphers, and they kind of like stick those on the steering wheels of their Zords when it comes to driving those. The green and black Rangers had the rev morphers, which are kind of like a gear drive that they could flip on their wrist. And then the gold and silver had the sky morphers, which were basically plain joysticks, like airplane joysticks. They each had their nitro blasters, which were their little sidearms, which would turn into a nitro sword. The Gold Ranger had a rail saber, and the rail saber and the nitro saber could combine into a big rail blaster, some sort of combined weapon. They each had their individual weapons. So the Red Ranger had the Street Saber, the Blue Ranger had the Turbo Cannon, the Yellow Ranger had the Zip Charger, the Green Ranger had the Turbo Axe, the Black Ranger had the Rocket Blaster, and those would all come together in some fashion So the red, blue, and yellow would combine first to be the Road Blaster. The green and black would combine on their own together to be a plasma launcher, and then all 5 of those would combine together to be the RPM Enforcer. So, as far as weapons go, it was cool to see that their weapons actually built a big long car track that they would shoot the Yellow Ranger's little zip car out of. So that at least made more sense than some other ones that we've seen in the past. They also had a little nod to the Sentai. So in the Sentai, the Rangers would drive around in a little RV bus. That same bus was used in the American season for the Project Go Onger.
The Ground Outdoor Operational Networked General Purpose Explorational Rover. Basically, it's a multi-terrain attack and surveillance vehicle.
All of that to give it the Sentai name Go Onger. And of course, all the Rangers have Zords.
Mecha Madness.
The red, blue, and yellow Zords. So the red was the Eagle Racer, the blue was the Lion Hauler, and the yellow was the Bear Crawler. The 3 of those would combine to become the High Octane Megazord. Then you had the green Zord, which was like a shark, the Tail Spinner, and the Black Ranger had the Wolf Cruiser. The 2 of those would combine with the Croc Carrier to become the Valve Max Megazord, which is Croc Carrier. I just see an ugly pair of shoes on wheels just driving through town. Then throughout the season, they obtained a few more Zords. So you had the Falcon Chopper, the Tiger Jet, and the Whale Jumbo Jet, and those would become the Mach Megazord. And then randomly there was 3 Paleozords, which were used with extinct dinosaur DNA to become the Paleomax Megazord. And then, of course, all 12 of those Zords would come together into the
Jesus
ugly-looking RPM Ultra Zord. Absolutely unnecessary, stupid-looking, and just
that's
dumb.
just dumb.
Yeah.
That is just...
It's just dumb.
What? No, there's too much going on there.
Yeah, they literally put everything on top of each other, and then with the eyes and everything, it just looks so silly. Overall, though, the ending for this season was really cool. Venjix had found a way to not only give himself a body, but he made a bad guy that could tap into the biofield that the Rangers were using to access their powers. So he could throw their attacks against them, and then eventually he deleted the Gold and Silver Rangers.
Delete! Delete!
They were up on the ropes for a second there. They had lost 2 of their stronger members.
We would have kept fighting.
Never give up.
Without really knowing what else to do, Dr. K created an antivirus for Venjix. They were able to plug it into Venjix's system and end up destroying him from the inside. All while managing to, rescue Tanaya 15 and turn her back into a human, null and voiding the Venjix virus inside of Dylan, as well as all the people that were inside Corinth. They were the same way Dylan was. Venjix had turned all of the robot citizens against Corinth at the end in a last-ditch attack to take over. Venjix didn't fuck around, bro. All in all, Venjix was such a great villain because he had already done what no other villain could do. Everybody else was struggling to take over one fucking town in California. And, Venjix said, fuck you, I'm gonna take over the entire world except for one town in California. Or New Zealand, or wherever it ended up being. They don't necessarily specify where in the world Corinth is. But Venjix overall, as a villain, was definitely one of my favorites as far as not messing around and actually getting the job done. So the Rangers end up destroying him at the end of the season, but it turns out that a piece of Venjix ended up surviving in the Red Rangers morpher. So when they give all their morphers back at the end of the season, there's a light that lights up on Scott's morpher, signifying that there's still a piece of Venjix that is alive out there and not fully destroyed.
Oh no!
So, in all honesty, a bad guy that survives being destroyed. So the Rangers end up thinking that they win for the season, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the last we see of Venjix.
The Golden Morpher. The Golden Morpher. For this episode, goes to Venjix.
It's hard for me to disagree with you on that. But I'm gonna go with Ziggy for my gold morpher. I kind of have to. He ends up being so goofy and so silly throughout the season, and I didn't know I needed that until I got it.
He looks like a younger version of Doctor Who.
Which one?
The one that looks like Ziggy.
Tell me, what's it like?
What's what like?
Being stupid your whole life.
Right, but there's 13 Doctor Who's, so which Doctor are we talking?
David Tennant.
Okay, I can kind of see that.
Yes. I honestly, for a brief second, thought that David Tennant was a Power Ranger before he was Doctor Who.
Venjix was a great villain, like I said. Ziggy was a great Ranger. So I would say overall, this season left me very happy. The second and third time I watched it. The first time I watched it, I was not fully sold that this was how Power Rangers was supposed to end. But in all honesty, if this was going to be the end of Power Rangers, I would have been okay with that.
I'm going to give this season a 6 out of 10.
This one gets a solid 8.5 from me.
Okay, I respect that. That's okay.
It's brought down a little bit because of the Zords and that aspect of the Sentai that didn't really make sense with it. But overall, solid fucking season, and it really just answered all of the questions that it started with. The Rangers as a team were really solid too. They all kind of started off in their own individual ways, but came together fully as a team when they needed to.
No, I agree with that. I agree.
And then watching 2 Rangers get deleted.
Delete!
Bro, that hurt. That fucking hurt.
It's almost like freaking Spider-Man with After the Snap.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go, sir. Please. Please, I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
100%. Oh my god, yes. It was the snap before the snap.
Mm-hmm. Power Rangers did it first. Suck it, Marvel.
That's going to do it for this episode here of Ranger Rabble. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. Make sure you guys smash that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next one here on the channel. As always, I'm Leo V.
I'm Kyle D. And well, it's morphin' time.
RPM!
Get in gear! And as always, guys, may the power protect you. Later.
Thanks so much for watching another episode of Ranger Rabble. If you've liked what you've seen, make sure you watch the next one that's being suggested to you, because that's how the algorithm knows that you like what you're watching.